Hi, this is Harvey Arden for the Wisdom Keepers series. I'm here with grandmother Edna Gordon out on the Cattaraugus Reservation, an ancient place. And Edna, tell me, you're the Hawk Elder. What does that mean, the Hawk Elder?
We go by the clans. And my mother, we go by the mothers. My mother was the Hawk clan. My grandmother always said, you say hen hawk, because the people started to take off some of those other things that really meant what kind of clan you were. But in modern times, it just went by the 8 clans here.
Like when you meet somebody who's native, you ask them, hey, like what clan are you? And like if they're Bear Clan, you never met them before, like, hey, we're relatives.
My grandmother's a Hawk clan, so they're handed down by the mother line. Whatever the mother is in clan, that's what you are.
And like everybody who is your clan is somehow related to you. And that's basically, it's like an extended family.
Clans came from the animals. And that's how they got their clans, by the bear clan, the deer clan.
And this is the Seneca Nation.
Yeah, we have 8 clans here. A lot of them are gone now because they had the eel clans. And they had ostrich clans years ago. So when a mother seeing her father, well, it's just like naming the child, okay? And whatever came into their lives at the time the child was. So this is what happened years ago. Then that's how they formed the clans, see? And that's the way it carried on. From the animal, because they learned survival, they learned everything, because they traveled together. That's why they always said that the animals, the creatures, were the brothers to the Indians, because they were in the wilderness together. And that's where the Indians learned all about their ways that I write about today, is because that was their life, you know. And so this is what are the people today lack. They don't teach them in the schools. The real foundation of the Indian spirituality was the sacredness of the land.
The sacredness of the land.
The sacredness is that the Creator placed us here and on this land. And that's why we call the land the Mother Earth, because the mothers, that's why we go by the mothers and we respect the mothers, because the mothers are like the sun. And the sun and the mothers are both the givers and the sustainers of life. We respect the earth because that is our mother. And the people don't understand that we were created with the breath of life. And we take so much for granted of life today. We don't teach the child anything. They don't take them for walks in nature, that your life is by the rivers, the streams, the sun, the wind, the rains. They were all put here for a reason, for us to learn, to teach, and we're not doing that. We don't take time to walk out here like this to see, and this is where you need to bring the child, to see a lot of this, of nature, and the man-made of nature working together to bring the beauty out. And we always learn about the roots of life, from the roots of the trees. This is beautiful up here. You can feel the peace. It's beautiful. And this was our children's playground, our grandchildren's playground. This is what's good for they understand the psychology, philosophy of the life because you grow up with it. You live with nature. The people have gotten all so far away from the facts of the earth and why we have to protect the earth. And they're gouging the soul of the earth by taking minerals, taking the soil out without putting back to giving back to the earth to keep producing, you know. And some say that that's why the lightning's striking here and now, because we're taking too much minerals of the ground. There's nothing there to strike there.
I remember old Matthew King says when they take the minerals out of the ground, particularly the uranium, that the lightning wouldn't strike anymore.
Yeah.
The rains wouldn't come. Gee, what about when you were a little girl?
Well,
Was the world like this too then? 84 years ago, say you were 5, boy, it's not that long ago. What, 1925, 1920?
okay, years back, the Indians were closer with this way of life. And as progress come along, they just kept gradually going the other way, see? And that's why there's a lot of them, yet Indians, but they don't recognize our way anymore. They've gone too modern. And they think we're old-fashioned, but what they've handed down from the ancient beliefs, they don't care nothing about, but it's still here. And it'll always be here, because the earth is here, the sun is here, the winds are here, the rains are here. Everything that was created is still here. And nobody seems to care anymore about going and taking a walk, enjoy the sun, and everybody gets mad if it rains too much, if it's too hot. You listen to people, they're never satisfied. And we live from only one day. It's not right for us to plan so far ahead. That's where your disappointments come in life. You have to accept each one is born with a mission. And we don't know why your mission. Some go earlier because they've reached their mission. And then some live longer because there is a reason for them to be teaching. And there's a reason for their mission. When they reach their mission, then that's the time, it's time to go. See, a lot of people, they don't teach all these in school. When we were younger, Sunday school was good them days because they took us for walks. Our Sunday school was to teach about the Bible and about the right and wrong, but then we were taken for walks to show everything where nature fit in with our life.
You said you didn't really follow in your heart the Christian way?
No, I respected everyone. I respect all religions, what they believe in. But I never felt right in only my own way. The way my early life, before I went to the orphanage, was a big farm. And the family said everything. And the growing of the plants. And we had the little small age, we still had to work and do things like with the corn and then apples and dry apples. So I don't know where I got this, whether it's in me, because I'm the only one practically in the family that ever planted or lived this kind of life. Sassafras is what we make our tea out from the roots. And that is medicine, but not to drink too much of it because it stings the blood. See? It's a tea. You make your tea. And the trees that are in front that are orange now, those are the mountain ash, and they don't know that you make the jelly out of that, and you take the seeds, and that's what you will plant to make your other trees. And the same way with the roses in February, with those hard knobs that are on there after. And then I planted a lot of the green out here, you'll see all over, because that part of that is that you can take for decorations. We share and let some be. We don't take all the herbs, we don't take all the plants, we leave some. Because then when you don't, that's when you become, well, I say piggish in my own way, see?
My grandma's not materialistic at all, and she, if you can't take anything that you own with you when you die, then what's the point? And anything that she has, she'll give it to anybody who can enjoy it at the time, but she doesn't feel like she wants to be, tied down to any material things in this life.
Today, I think the education should be changed a lot because they've got things in the books of what they want you to learn when it isn't so. In other words, you're full of lies. They want you to believe. So look at all the money that you're paying for this education. When really life is right here in front of us to learn along the way who your ancestors were, what they really fought for. They have standards, but today it is so bad that we've lost track of humanity. There's no togetherness anymore. It's you, me for me. And progress is all right. Progress moves like the ripples of the waters of life and how they go on. And it's either that or the lashing of the winds and the storms and the rivers lashing away. For years, we didn't realize that they were working on this world order for years without people realizing what was going on. All the wars that they'd done was for their benefit. And then now every constitution, treaty, everything has been broken. And now they're going by corporate law. On the pathway of life, we had two choices. Now we are only going one way. We are following the mighty dollar and the power. No Humpty Dumpty ever stays on the wall. Things can go in their glory for a long time and you wonder and you say, oh my gosh, when is this ever going to end? And you get discouraged and you say, oh, I don't believe in the Creator anymore, the devil does more for them to help them. It seems like they're helping them more than they help the people looking for peace and comfort and whatever. And they put us in a turmoil. But you look at it through history, every king, every ruler, everyone has their fall. Nobody in their crooked world stays there. This book that we've done, the Broomstick Revolution, in there has gone all over the world. It's so simple. By the Broomstick Revolution, sweep the garbage out. So the only way we can sweep to save this land, this country, we have to do it as the people in this land. Like this tree here, we call the umbrella tree. It needs to be cut down, the branches, but it's like a home. It's comfort right here. Everybody says, I love your tree. You know, you find a security here. And that's what we're not finding. How are you going to find security in counting your money, you know, or whatever it is? Because the more you count on, the more you want to come in. And where is it going? Is that going to help the next generation? What are we going to teach them to plant? Rice, macaroni? I don't know. It's up to the people in this world to start taking a good look at what we are becoming. Heartless. No brother and sister. No kinship. And it's like nature is from another world. There is no unity. It's fading. So to me, the unity, our way of life was simple. There was only two laws in this country, the European law and the Creator law. The European law, you can do anything you want to get around it. Oh, you can get out of it a dozen ways. But the Creator law, the common sense law, you get back maybe twice what you've done up. Somewhere along the line, that is life. You get back. It might be a glory in what all they're doing. Getting all this power and getting all this money and filling their pockets and all the glory of their inner self. But you speak of the inner self. This is the most important thing in your life. Nobody cannot measure the depths of the soul. That is yours, and that is what's going to lead you out of this turmoil. That's the only thing that you can leave your children. You've got to work with them. You've got to continue, just like you're nurturing a little fawn. Even the birds, the people don't know anything about the birds. When the birds are born here, my goodness, look how they go away. They go down south. And on the way, they're just like people. Some go right down. They know when the weather changes, it's time for them to go. They dilly-dally around the way down to warm weather. And then others go right down. And then when it's time to come back, they know just when to come back. Some hurry right back because it is coming home. Now you take the little birds, they're too little, so they can't go across the big waters. But imagine the flight of the birds, how far they go into other countries. And then they come back when it's time. And the reason they come back, because this is where the bird was born, and it comes back to what they call their home. So this is where the Indians got that. We call it this land that nobody can't understand about us. So we don't have the best. You can't take it with you anyway. But it's the freedom, and even if the Indians go away for a while to the cities or somewhere else, when it's time, when they get old or they get time and through out there, whatever they want, they come back, or if they come back to rest, it is coming home, because that's what the birds done. This is what the land means to us.
The old days, they're getting older. What changes do you see from then to now?
Well, nobody's teaching. Nobody's teaching what they go to together today. The Indians go to the white schools, and they're teaching them all their way. And then they have some now. They start with the languages for the little kids. But there's more than just a language. Your language is your way of life. Why you have a language? They're trying to teach the kids their way of life, of the way it's supposed to be. And the same way in the Black Hills there, in where Orville is up there, in Pine Ridge, they're starting a school up there.
For language.
For their way of life.
Yeah,
for
the way of
languages
life.
and everything. Exactly the way that they were raised in the beginning of what they believed in.
I'm a Orville looking horse, and I do a lot of traveling internationally, do a lot of international peace work.
This is what's so beautiful here. To me, it's the closest to nature ways, the closest you can get to the Creator way of life. When I was real little, we had to be real small. That was the first time, too, that my brother and I went to eat the apples. And you know how it is when it starts to get cold, and those apples are frozen a little, but still they're good to eat. And we were eating those apples, and all of a sudden we first seen our first deer. We were so fascinated, because the folks can talk to you about deer, but you don't see any deer or no animal really, unless they show you. Otherwise, you kind of get spellbound or you get scared. But we just stood there fascinated to see this beautiful creature. And it just looked at us, and we just stood there with our apples. We couldn't eat them, we were just staring. That's how fascinated we were. But we were around the pigs and the cows and the horses, the gardens, and the work that we had to do. So therefore, now there is no unity. And families came to help each other to eat, and then we always had treats after. Like if we had to do the bark and cut it up into little squares, we all had to sit down and help for the medicine. And then we had to cut beans or maybe do something else, but it was all a togetherness. And then the women always had, and we look forward to this because you had the real potato salad that nobody can't seem to make today.
No.
The flavor is gone from what they had years ago, and the real pure lemonade. whole world is in the position where they've got to go back to the earth, the mother, to the nature, because in the end, that's where they're going to fall anyway. They're going to have to go back to the teachings because they'll never survive. Never. So in life, there's only two choices. And the most important thing to lead you is your inner self. You were giving this something in there, and when you can't think, that was because that little soft spot when you were a baby, it didn't seal up. It's supposed to seal up there. So that's when I said, that's why when they get older, they can't learn nothing, because it never sealed up. And another thing, because they get so self-centered in life, instead of listening to yourself, you got to talk to yourself. You talk to the teenager and you say, what is it I want? You got to talk to yourself. Am I satisfied with myself? Well, sometimes I didn't used to like myself either. But only you got to do something about it. Because you can, like we're doing now. Everything is, we talk to somebody, we talk. It goes in one ear and out the other. You know? It flies with the wind. Life is so simple. Man has complicated life. He makes his own destruction. When my son graduated for dental laboratory technician, I just asked him last year, how come you never carried on with that job? You could work anywhere in the world. He says, because you had to work in a little booth. And that's an example of how the Indian is really created within. He has to have the space for his freedom. He cannot be cooped in there 8 hours a day. They had that in them from birth, carried within, that they had to have this freedom of space. So that's how we're created. And with the animals, they followed the animals. And like on some of my writings, you'll find out why, when a beaver is building a dam, why do you destroy their dams when we don't go and destroy your houses? Well, today you destroy your houses. Let the beaver be. He has the reason to be doing that. See? And then the Indians learned from the birds about the nest and how they build and how they have the birdies fly on their own when it's time to go on your own. That's where they learned all their life was from the creatures, from the sun, from the wind, from the rivers, the stones. The stones, they all have life. Everything was created has life. So that's why the Indian was close to nature. And that's why I said the people today should take the child and take him more, because the child can see more things that you can't see. And I said, like, for instance, how you got a seed and you put it in the ground, and then if you got the sod that's hard, the miracle of that seed to form the roots to come up across that sod. And they don't look at the child of saying when the wind blows, how a daisy or goldenrod or something neat seems to nod to the sun. They don't look at these simple things of life that they should be teaching them. That's why we're so far away, because man has come away from the naturalistic of life into the materialistic. And that's why we're a failure today. That's why that's why they gouge the soul of the Mother Earth, and they don't take the kids to see the rage of the rivers, you know, and then the calmness, and then take them to the sea, how the waves and the tides lash against the rocks with their anger, and then calmly sit back to the natural of life. It is so beautiful. And the life, if you learn it like this, it teaches the whole of life. It teaches your qualities of life. It teaches to be able to reach your inner soul, because nobody cannot reach the soul of another only you of what you put out or what you lock in. And most people today are locking everything in because they cannot express. They have no way of expressing how they feel because they've gone away too far from nature. That's the sad part of it. Nature is free. And there's so much to see out there, and they don't look at the mountain, how the mountain caresses the clouds and the sun. They're the closest that can get there. This is why the Indian always had their sacred mountain, because that's where they went to make their prayers and everything. So, because this is the closest that they can get to the Creator, the sun, and the wind, and the silence of the mountain. And when you see the streams, a brook, and how they flow, and you take, this is what they do with the dividing of the world. When the river is going, or the streams, they come to big rocks. What do? They don't bash against that rock. They move, they find their way around it. And that's why everything in life is erosion, is moving, is changing. Nothing in life remains the same. Even our ages, even our way of life, what we learn in life changes. And it is up to us to make those changes. Everything in life, we have choices from the time of birth. Whether you want to stay with the roses or you want to stay with the thorns. There's only one path. And they always ask me, the college kids, do you believe in life after death? And I never like to say no or really commit myself because I always show something. I said, when there's a rose and it no longer produces what needs to be taken care of, that is the answer there. You take that roots out and you think that's the end of it. Oh no, that's the end. Look next spring, that rose comes back up. Then you take it again the next year, you do the same thing. That rose comes up again. That represents the spirit of life. That's the way I look at it. And the thorns of the rose, the stem is the path. And you have your choices of smelling like the roses or stay over here and be pricked by the thorns for the rest of your life. And the roots is what we got now of our foundation of our naturalistic way of life. The roots is our culture and what the ancient has handed down to us, their way of life. Today, gone is the cookie jar. Gone is the button box. The button box represented life, that security in the house, and you'd love to keep us busy. They always had something shiny, besides just buttons in there. And that kept us occupied, fascinated by what they kept for us. And you could go to anybody's house and you were welcome. Today you're not welcome, except us. We never lock our doors yet because it's too hard to fix a door or window. And we don't have anything that valuable where you're going to make millions.
Or they might steal you.
Well, they would have to listen to me or get fed up with me or something.
They'd probably wind up being
sorry. So I won't keep my mouth shut because I was created with a voice box just like anybody else. And that's why I don't need a mediator or somebody telling me how I should feel when I've experienced life. And you've got your sentence in here created with it to put there how you should feel and how you were created with eyes to be aware. And up here you got a noggin with the mind in there. We don't go around and take the guns and fight each other. You go and you go by the mind, was the Indian way. You take the greatest soldiers that we had, and that's what they did. They couldn't help but admire it because they had the technique of war, how to dodge and to hide and to come. You know, they didn't just stand there with their guns and start shooting. They had they had a sense of how to do it without all the killing. because they didn't really believe in that. They even prayed and thanked when they had to kill a deer. That was a blessing to them. So their survival was different ways than we have today. Here we just want to live as long as we can, regardless of what we do. But years ago, survival meant a lot to the Indian because you had to strive for a way of life. You had to have the unity, the spirituality, the equality. You see, all these, and the most important thing that they learned from the animals, the creatures, was your unity, your equality. They didn't separate you and segregate you here and there. They all lived in their own territory, their own thing. That's what they learned. This is what was handed down to us. They have an animal world, the creature world. They have feelings. How do you think that they learn how to wash their face and hands before they eat or after they eat? That was from the coon. And how they learn to save their food for winter. The winters used to be terrible them days. And that was through the squirrels, gathering the nuts ahead of time to go and store them. That's what I'm talking about, creatures, and the way the Indian was close to them to learn, you know, and about the birdie in the nest. When it's time to go and fly, now they have to push them out the nest. But you watch them how the man is, the male is always somewhere around. They say, how come you don't always see the man around with the mother in the nest? Because he's out there, whether he's making more birds or he's looking for food for surviving or he's for protection. Well, she's in the nest. So if you look around, you never see the male around there. It's always the mother with the nest. And then she gets the food and brings it to the bird in the nest until it's time that you have your census with your child of when it's time to go. And nobody doesn't mature at the same time. The trees and the forest don't mature at the same time, neither do the flowers. So how do they expect these children to all mature like one person? That's terrible. If we're human beings with our own inner soul, then why are we put in a category? Everybody can't learn the same time. I won't want to be like everybody else. It's beautiful. Go up into nature like this. You could feel the peace, and you'll reach in your soul what you are searching for in a place like this. This is what this means to us, this beauty of taking care of it, because people love it here. And I said, maybe they don't know why, but it's because of the peace. It's because you are close to nature and a creator of only one. We say one creator, whatever you call, is still one that created all of this. So that's why the peace is here. And the greatest law is the law of the Creator. Other things will follow. But first comes law of the rest of your life.
Mention the great law. Could you explain that a little to us?
The great law was long before the United States, when the Indians of Iroquois Confederacy was big. And they were doing so much wrong, they said at the time. It's just like Christianity, say, and the Creator had somebody that come in to tell the people they're wrong. So the main things of the great law was your chief, your clan mother, your peacemaker, and your law. Those were the dominant things by the law. And it's all to do with the right and wrong of life. And you have the peacemaker that is that was set out to tell the people of right and wrong. This is what it's all about. It's not like a typical of right and wrong going into a court. It's more of a way of life. that when you are doing wrong to yourself, to your own people, the peacemaker comes in with no guns, but a peace of mind of how you are to settle everything.
No prisons.
No prisons. No. The man done all of this. But the spirituality of the great law was from the Creator. The Creator law is the common law. And the difference between the Creator law and the natural law of man, the Creator, you get back what you dish out. In other words, I'm plain point English. Whatever you do, some way comes back to you, maybe twice around. You get back what you put out, one way or another. Where man's law, you go into court, you can put your hand on the Bible and lie. And that's all there is to it. So the whole difference of the great law and the man's law is the spirituality, the Creator law of what's right and wrong in life. Now, from a child, from a baby, you know what's wrong. What they know, they can boss from a baby. They go, yeah, they want their diaper changed. Yeah, they want their tit or their bottle, whatever they get. They're demanding you from the time they're babies. They're smart. And we either run, we jump, you know. So if they're that smart, and they know the sense, and that's where they learned it from the animal too, of watching the animal when they gave birth, of animal, how the father took care of the mother. All this in life lost them from the animal for a way of life. So that look at the baby. Oh, and then when they get to running around, they keep you jumping. They outrun you because we let them. And that's what's going on with the world today. All this stuff that they're doing is because we let them. Out there, they are still our children. And nobody's teaching them their children out there. They are doing wrong. You're not giving nothing for the next generations, whether you're green, white, or black, or whatever you are. There's nothing for them out there to leave them for a way of life. And this is sad. And this is the thing of the mothers and the grandmothers. We have to teach them to see what we are seeing so they can teach their children to see what he is seeing. That's how it modifies and goes on. And they're not doing this. You have to look at the future. It's so uncertain, and all this corruptness that's going on, and all overseas, this economy isn't safe. You don't feel safe in it. You feel uneasy. What's going to happen to my children? You know, because life can backfire. Just as easy as you can rush ahead like the waters and go on like this. Wind comes along, it's gone. You're going to have your rebellions. I thought it would come before this with the farmer. But it's coming. The rebellions are coming, and you're going to have to learn to survive. Because creation wasn't made to be all glory. Yes, it goes on like the rivers. You don't see the falls going backwards up there. You don't see the rivers flowing backwards. This is life. It goes on. And you have to watch in your life how you move along with the movements of progress. They're rushing too fast. It's like I could feel it. You could smell it. You got this feeling, and it makes you feel like you got to rush. See, I don't believe in the end of the world. The end of the world could be when you die, whatever. But at the end of the era, when it reaches its peak, those that are doing the corrupt do not stand. Those that are doing nothing don't stand. But the ones that are working for the humanity of this world will stand, because they are the seeds that you leave to grow. And a good example of that is the Klamath Indians when their mountain erupted thousands of years ago. They left the people to carry on, and it made that Crater Lake the most beautiful clear lake in the world. That's what it created. And where they stand today, they're fighting together. They're fighting to get their land back, but they got their casinos. But it depends how you manage business. Business has always been business in this world, but at the rate of destruction to yourself, to man, to the land, then it becomes wrong. There is no middle class in this world anymore. And I wanted to do a cartoon where the American flag is being lowered to the ground. But I don't know what to put there yet. Will it be the money tree? Are they going to salute? You know, my mind is on that because this is where we are today. We as a people allow them to do this to us. It's like we don't have time anymore. The time goes so fast. This is what we're doing. We're rushing to nowhere. And there is only one creator, the maker of all. And this is where you find your peace. We've had people come here with turmoils, but when they leave here, they have a sense of peace, a sense of direction.
So against all odds, I might have given at the time, here is Edna's book. Much to my amazement, the voice of the Hawk Elder, which to my mind is an incandescent torch to light our way in these dark times. This beloved lady.
And we have more to do because we want to hear the voices. We are the earth voices. And we're giving a job to Harvey and to Perry to have us heard. That's the only way we can do it.
And every one of you here is important.